Welcome in, friends. Thirsty Thursday. It is time for Dirty Air. Coming to you live. I am in Texas, and we're doing it on Racing America. Also doing it at RodneyRodriguezRacing.com. Hope you all are having a great week. Going back at it once again as we venture into what is another busy short track racing weekend, and we'll have you covered wall to wall right here with Dirty Air. Remember, clean air is good. Times like this, Dirty Air just a tad bit better, as it always is right here at 7 o'clock Eastern and 6 o'clock Central with the Dirty Air. As always, presented by Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet GM Performance. Those are the folks that put this grand little program together. Proud sponsor here of the show. The number one, the absolute number one price that you're going to find in the country on the GM crates, the 602s, the 604s. You're not going to get a better price than you're going to find at Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet. There's a QR code right there. You can actually message me as well, and I can get you detailed information on how we can get you that crate delivered right to you just as soon as possible. So let us know what you are needing. It is Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet, proud sponsors and proud supporters right here of Dirty Air. Again, my name is Rodney Rodriguez, and I welcome you in to what, like I said, promises to be a great weekend of racing. I'll talk a little bit later on as we dive in. You've got the doubleheader, as it is championship night number 2 coming up at Five Flags Speedway. You've seen some of the ads that have been running here. If you're checking in on Racing America, you've seen all of that. So, man, that's big time stuff happening. Lots of other racing action as well, and I'll kind of touch on that a little bit as we get deeper into the program. But on the show today, coming up probably in about 8 minutes or so, you're going to talk to Scott Lightning Treadway. That is the man. I think if you were checking in on the Racing America part, you probably saw a little bit of where we were discussing some of the big rig action. The big rig action that was previewed here. You saw some of that. So it was actually Scott Lightning Treadway that wound up being the victor of both of those races this past weekend. We'll talk with him. And then a little bit later on in the show, super excited. I know that here in Texas, we've got a huge event coming up with Houston. Houston will be racing this weekend, but no Outlaws racing this weekend in Houston because they are off, because you have a huge event that's going to be going on at Cordele. And our man Ben Sumner is going to be checking in there from Cordele to talk a little bit about that huge event right there. A lot of money on the line. $5,054, and he'll touch on that. Great pre-entry list that we have seen of cars that are already in the mix for that one. So we'll talk with him, and he'll give us a lowdown on what's going down over at Cordele as we get set to dive into that one. So again, welcome in. Super excited to have you here with us live on a Thursday here on Dirty Air. Be sure and share this, guys, because we're going to be doing this even into the off-season. The show will kind of roll on. We'll continue to do stuff during the off-season. It's going to be a busy off-season as we start diving into what's going to be, the big race season. And like I was mentioning there, with the two or with what's coming up at Pensacola, we're kind of working our way to the Snowball Derby, which obviously the Super Bowl of short track racing. So we'll continue to start previewing that as we get closer and closer. And it never stops. It never stops. We'll continue to work through the off season into the brand new race season. Before we dive into all the fun stuff and before we start talking about all of the great racing action that's coming up, I do want to kind of touch on, it's a rough weekend, I think, for a lot of us in the racing circles with the loss there of Sherry Pollux, and I know there have been a lot of tributes, and the support continues for Sherry, and hashtag Sherry Strong, and everything that Sherry Pollux was and will continue to be to the sport of racing. It was just a situation right there where that was a lady that, man, she was a warrior. She was just somebody that lived life and continued to overcome a lot of obstacles. She overcame a lot of different things, and it was a tough loss. It was a tough loss, I think, for all of us in the racing community when we lost her this past weekend. And you value a lot into the character, the morale, just everything that happens with that. And when you lose someone like that, yeah, and this is the impact that I think Sherry Pollock's really had on racing is that, I mean, she didn't race. She wasn't a competitor. I mean, but she just did a lot for this sport, and she did a lot for folks that were fighting the same fight that she was fighting. And you just never know when that time is going to come. We had kind of we hadn't seen Sherry a lot, and it makes a lot of sense where apparently that situation was not in the place that she needed it to be. But the fact that you know there are a lot of people that touch a lot of lives that you never meet. I never met Sherry. I never met her, but just you could genuinely feel the goodness and the heart and the love Sherry Pollock's had for everyone just by looking at her, just by seeing what she did. And it's one of those that I'm very proud that with the Cup Series and with NASCAR coming to my home state here in Texas this weekend, that Texas Motor Speedway is going to be honoring her with a couple of different things there. I'm very proud that my home state track, or if you want to call it my home state super speedway, is going to be honoring the memory of her, because it really is one of those things to where the world is a better place because of people like Sherry. And this is where I talk a lot of times. I'll close out a show and I'll say, be nice to someone. You never know what they're going through, and you're going to feel better as well afterwards. It's a lot of times for a reason, just a reason like that, because the good things that Sherry did, and she will be dearly missed. She will be dearly missed, and the impact that she had, not only on the NASCAR community or racing community, whatever you want to call it. It's just the impact that she had on this earth. I mean, it's this place is better because of folks like Sherry that did what she did. And we'll continue to grieve for her, and we will miss her, and we pray for her family, and we pray she rests in peace. To the hotline for the first time tonight, and I'm so excited to have this discussion right here, because you saw on Racing America the past couple of weeks, you saw some of the advertisements rolling and so forth with the American Big Rig Racing Series, and man, this is what it's all about right here. I like to call them the truckers. Sometimes I call them the mother truckers, because they are that badass. Let's go to the hotline, and it is the dude that took care of business this past weekend, double dipping, winning twice, Scott Lightning Treadway. Mr. Treadway, how we doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing, sir?
I am doing well, my friend. Are you still in the aftermath of the big weekend, kind of double dipping right there, taking care of business twice?
Yeah, I'm still on cloud nine. It was a great race.
Absolutely. That's a really cool thing to hear right there for you. So kind of break this down. I mean, kind of talk about this. Back in the 80s, I remember seeing, with Burr Robinson and Shauna Robinson and all of that with the big rigs. Kind of talk about what you guys do, man, because this is some kind of racing that you guys put on.
Yeah, there was the Great American Truck Racing back in the 80s.
That's right. That's right.
Done truck racing, and it kind of went away, and there was discussions of starting big truck racing again, and it started back about 8 years ago now. And it started off running some road courses, and road courses just wasn't, where the trucks needed to be, and the crowds wasn't there. And then we kept talking about circle track racing, and we started circle tracking, and it really took off. We really getting crowds and getting more and more trucks racing, and it's really been good the past few years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So kind of talk about that. I mean, you guys this past weekend, it's at Veterans Motorplex, the different road, man, I can't imagine on road courses. that would be something else. Kind of talk about the different track sizes that you guys talk about. I know with the Great American back in those days when they'd come to Texas, they'd run a quarter mile or a half mile. What all do you guys put yourselves on these days?
We run a quarter mile, 3/8, Half Mile has been the biggest track we've run. We run at Bristol Motor Speedway. We run at
Wow.
Rockingham. Those tracks like that. When you go to get any bigger than a half mile, it just takes a lot more gear and a lot more speed than we really need to be pushing the trucks with tires we run and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the trucks weigh about 11,000 to 12,000 pound a piece.
Shit. So how so with that, I mean, talking about that, so with you guys with rules and so forth and tires and all that, I know with short track racing, we talk about tires and weight differentials and cross weight and all the different stuff like that. With you guys, are there modifications, or are you guys are you pulling them off the street? I mean, just what you run on the highways, or how's that work for you guys?
The tires are actually highway tires.
Wow.
We just grind them down to a lower tread depth from a brand new tire. Like the back tires on my truck, I've raced with the same tires probably for 3 years on the back of it. Now they're down where there ain't no tread left. Mainly, they're pretty well slick. But we run highway tires. Most of the trucks are, just nothing really special as far as modifications to the trucks. We do a little bit to the suspension, but it's all OEM stuff. It's nothing highly modified like that for the suspensions or nothing on the trucks.
Wow, man, that is crazy. So, how is it driving one of those things on a short track? I mean, I guess depending on banking and so forth, I can only imagine with Bristol right there. But man, I can only imagine that is a load to carry one of these things around one of these short track ovals.
Yeah, I was used to driving a car. I had raced a car in Newport, Tennessee for years. And then when I got into the truck, the first time I throwed it into a curve, it was way different than driving a car into the curve. And they just handle so much different than a car racing. But they handle better than what you would think. I mean, some of them's pretty loose on these short tracks. It just depends on the track. We raced on a dirt track last month, and that was way different than racing dirt. I'd never been on dirt before with a car or truck, so it was way different when we went on dirt.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
They do good compared to what everybody would think they would do. They do really do good.
Yeah. So when you get into one of these things, and when you talk about throttle response and so forth, I know that's a big thing. In my years of racing, it was always you want to get the throttle to respond when you hit the accelerator and so forth. How does that work for you guys? I mean, I would think, are you guys, do you keep that thing to the floor, or I mean, how do you navigate around a track in one of these things?
It's different from truck to truck because all of our trucks is set up different as far as other team stuff. We have trucks anywhere from 500 horsepower up to probably 11 or 1200 horsepower.
Wow.
And my truck has a 13-speed transmission in it. We have some that have 10 speeds, some that have 18 speeds in it. So it varies, on what truck that you're in, as far as the gear you're running in and the speed. And like I say, the motors, my truck just has about 500 horsepower, maybe 550.
Yeah.
But it handles better than some of the ones that has the heavier motors and on the bigger horsepower motors. And on the real short tracks like we raced at in Highland Realms, that really helps me, having the lighter motor and being able to handle better.
Man, that is absolutely unbelievable, man. So kind of talk about the dirt track part. That same like you're talking about right there. I was always a pavement guy, and then I got to dirt, and I was totally confused and lost, and had no idea what the hell I was doing out there. But one of these things, I mean, depending, I guess, on a dry slick or a hammer down racetrack, I mean, one of these, I bet it sticks pretty good on the dirt, doesn't it?
Yeah, when we first found out we was going to race the dirt track, there was 5 of us went, or 6 of us went down there and practiced on it the weekend before we raced, just to see how the trucks was going to do, because we'd never had the trucks on the dirt.
Yeah.
We didn't know how a 12,000-pound truck was going to do, and we slung it into the curve. It was just going to eat into the dirt, but it actually done well. And once the track got packed in and set in, we was leaving black marks on the track, on the dirt. I mean, it set in good, which the night we raced, it rained before the race.
Damn.
Made the track a little slicker, but we still run the same tires we'd been running. I changed my back ones out, put something that had a little bit of tread on them instead of just completely slicks. But they handle really well on the dirt. better than any of us was expecting them to.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. So with you guys, when you get out there in these trucks, you know, we all, you know, we get into one another. I mean, you touch. I mean, things are going to happen out there.
Yeah.
How does that work with you guys? I mean, is there a lot of contact out there? I would think the respect factor, hopefully, is a little better in a something that weighs this much. What happens out there with you guys?
Yeah, we have some contact. We rub a lot, do some bumping. Uh, we go three wide into the turns just like the cars would. I know this past weekend I went three wide a couple of times on the track,
Wow.
passing traffic and stuff. And there is some bumping and grinding. We have some big wrecks. Back about 3 years ago now, I flipped one end over end three times in Mobile, Alabama.
Hot damn.
I went off the track and rolled it three times.
Oh,
And
man.
totaled the truck that I had then, and I had to build a whole new truck.
Dang. So was that at Mobile International?
Yes, sure was. Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
I went
No
off the track. You know, there's
no
no
walls.
outside walls there, and I went off.
Yeah.
And when it dug into the grass, it just dug in and commenced to rolling with me.
Holy
Which
shit.
we've got all the safety equipment. You know, we got roll cages and Hans devices, and you know we're set up as far as safety real well, because once it stopped rolling, a buddy of mine got to me first and asked me if I was okay. I said, "Yeah, can I get back in the race?" And he said, "No." I said, "The rear end of the truck's laying way over yonder, and the batteries are laying way over there, and no, you can't get back in the race." I said, "Well, okay, I'm done."
Well, I guess the good thing if that happened in Mobile is you stayed out of the trees and all that stuff, because I know a lot of
Yeah.
times it can get a little bit further out right there. So they say lightning. They say Scott Lightning Treadway. Why? Tell me how that came about. There's always a story to the nickname right there when you have a moniker that's put on you like that.
You know, Lightning's actually my CB handle. I drive a truck for a
Nice.
living. I've been driving a truck for about 32 years now,
Thank you.
and that's what I've done. Like I say, all my life, mainly is drive a truck, and I ended up with that as a CB handle.
That's
And
awesome.
if you look at a lot of our trucks on the track, the guys, most of them CB handle nicknames is on the back of our trucks.
That's awesome.
And that was my CB handle. It sort of worked out well this past weekend. Me went into races like I did. It worked out good.
Yeah. So how great when you have a two race weekend like that and you're able to win both of them. That man, that's I'm sure it's a stacked field, because just like anything else, you know, you get into this and people are going to figure out ways to make things really fast. To kind of double up right there, got to be pretty cool for you.
Yeah, it is. It really well. I really wasn't expecting to do as good as I done there on the track this weekend, and got there and my truck just seemed to handle really well and run well. And after I won the first night, I told my wife, I said, "I'll never win the second night." I thought, there's no way I can do that 2 nights in a row. And it just everything just lined up right and worked out good, and I swept the whole weekend then. So
Man,
it worked out well.
that is awesome. So that was in Tennessee. What is y'all's schedule like? Kind of the regional. I mean, where all do you guys compete? Amount of races and so forth per year for the American Big Rig Racing Series.
I think that's their last race for this year.
Okay.
That we had there last weekend. Next year's schedule, we'll hope to have it out by November, December of this year, somewhere along there, and we'll probably have at least one race a month, probably starting in April, maybe 2 races a month from April to probably October.
Oh,
I'm not sure all the tracks. We've been talking to a lot of different tracks and trying to find more tracks that to go to and race.
Yeah.
I know in the past years we've raced at different series and stuff in different tracks. We've actually raced in South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia. We've raced in Florida before.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to stay more southeast right now. But if we can find a good track and branch out, we're willing to do that. And go more places and race more tracks.
Hey, no doubt about it. So how hard is it for you after you get out there and you're actually on the track, you're racing one of these rigs, and then you get back on the highway again, you get back to work, and you're lightning, you're doing your daily job, and you get all these damn knuckleheads on the highway that won't get the hell out of the way and forget how to drive. How hard is that when you want to talk about road rage, man. How do you contain yourself after that with all these idiots on the road?
The worst thing about that is when you get back out there in your own personal truck
That's
and
right.
you're going to road think, boy, I'm just crawling along. I need to be out here in the left lane passing people here, getting faster.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Yeah, because I tell you, man, people just I tell you, they don't know how to handle themselves on the highway, man. But dude, this has been so much fun, and I, like I was saying there when we first started, man, and I'm glad you alluded to it, man. Watching it back in the day, it was always something that was so cool, and I'm just glad that it continues because it's very unique. And you guys, I mean, you're the king of the road, and hell, you're the king of the racetrack, man. This looks like a hell of a lot of fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. When I got the opportunity to drive one of the trucks, I just jumped at the chance and been tickled to death with it ever since.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That is awesome, man. Congratulations on the weekend. Thanks for taking the time. I know you got a busy schedule, so take care, my friend, and stay at it, Lightning, and stay safe out there.
Thank you, sir.
You got it, man. Take care.
Have a good one.
You bet. There you go, Scott Lightning Treadway, and that is the American Big Rig Racing Series. And it was he doubled up, and I reached out to them because I saw as we were doing promos on the Racing America side where I honestly didn't realize that we still had a series that did that, because I saw them like I was talking there to Lightning about back in the day in the mid 80s. We had a couple of tracks here in Texas, and Shauna Robinson was actually the one that came to Texas, and it was her and her group that her dad led that group, like he was talking about, the Great American Truck Series. They came out and ran a couple of different races in Texas, and it's something to see if you have never had the opportunity to check out one of those big rig truck races like that, man. I highly recommend that you get yourself out there, and I like what he's talking about right there, because possibly if they're looking to kind of expand that series out a little bit, I mean, to get to some of the other tracks here along the East Coast and maybe out along the southern parts around here, get them and continue to grow that and get them at a bunch of different tracks. I think that would be something that would be very cool to see. Scott Lightning Treadway, winner at Veterans Motorplex in Tennessee, doubling up. He wins both races this past weekend with the American Big Rig Racing Series. You guys hang out, because coming up, man, we got a big one coming up at Crisp. If you were a Outlaw fan, those badass Outlaw race cars, they are racing in a huge one this weekend. And they've got cars from all over the country that are descending to Cordele for a big one. We're talking to Ben Sumner. He's going to give us a lowdown on what's going on there. Clean air is good. Times like this. Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Dirty air, just a tad bit better. I'm Rodney Rodriguez. You guys hang out.
Ed Vance here, and I'm at my favorite place again.
Sorry, did you say your name is Ed Vance?
That's me.
Like advance?
Crazy, right? And it just so happens he knows everything in advance.
Oh, you know the future? Did you know I needed 10W30?
No. I just know everything here in Advance Auto Parts, like where the 10W30 is.
So you don't know what I'll do next?
Actually, I do. You will be going to the oil aisle.
He's good.
He's Advance.
I spend a lot of time here.
He's here a lot.
This is how we advance. If sending your firstborn off to college brings a tear to your eye, but only because she's taking the convertible with her, then CarQuest Auto Parts is for you. If you've ever heard last call at an auto parts store, then CarQuest is for you. That's because CarQuest Auto Parts is for those who really know and care about their car. For all your steering and suspension needs, install Moog Parts, the choice of professional technicians. CarQuest is serious auto parts. Visit CarQuest.com.
Die Hard. Good choice.
Only one I trust.
Imagine if everything had the reliability, durability, power of Die Hard. Die Hards choose Die Hard, and they get it at Advance Auto Parts.
Guys, Rodney again, once again, for Rogers Dab Chevrolet GM Performance, Brandon, Mississippi, your best source for the 602s and the 604 GM Performance parts, along with your powertrain. The Rogers Dabs is going to take care of you. Certified GM parts, #1 in the country when it comes to price. And if you need it quick, all you have to do is let them know that you need it quick, and you're going to get it quick. And Rogers Dab Chevrolet, very excited to be a part of Cruising the Coast. Man, what a huge event coming up in just a couple of weeks, as you've got about 30 miles right there along the Gulf Coast. You got Biloxi, you've got Gulfport, you got a bunch of different spots where you're going to have 700 or so hot rodders that are going to cover the Gulf Coast, bringing out their hot rods, bringing out those badass machines, and just covering that beautiful site out there. And you can come see Rogers Dab Chevrolet GM Performance. Going to be set up right there at the Coliseum in Biloxi. Come by, see the folks right there. Orders. I mean, if you have an order, you need parts, they can take your order right there at the Coliseum and get it to you just as soon as possible. It's going to be something really cool as well coming up. Rogers Dab Chevrolet GM Performance going to be a part of the Lone Star 600 that I'll be talking about here on the show in just a couple of weeks. That is the best, the coolest race that you're going to find in the United States. It is the Lone Star 600. Stay tuned for details on that. But friends, don't forget, GM Performance, you need the hookup. You're looking for that hookup. You need your performance parts or your powertrain. It is Rogers Dab Chevrolet GM Performance. They're going to take care of you, the best in the country. It's Rogers Dabs Chevrolet and GM Performance.
Die Hard. Good choice.
Only one I trust.
Imagine if everything had the reliability, durability, power of Die Hard. Die Hards choose Die Hard, and they get it at Advance Auto Parts.
It is Dirty Air. Rodney Rodriguez with all of you guys live on your Thirsty Thursday. Thank you for being a part of the program. Whether you're checking in on the RPM Multimedia Facebook or YouTube page, or checking in on the YouTube page, Dirty Air Racing Show, or if you were checking in with the great folks at Racing America. And speaking of Racing America, man, we've got loaded race programming for you coming up. If you are a subscriber, man, $12, $12.99, dude. Are you kidding me? That kind of price, and you get the you get night number 2, the Night of Champions, coming up at I almost said Heart of Texas Speedway in Waco. And you know why? Because they're having a big event too. But I'll talk about that later. But you've got Night of Champions number 2 coming up at Five Flag Speedway. You've got the Twin 100s for the Blizzard Series. And then you've got the Pro Late Models. It's a double-header night of action at Five Flag Speedway. And what a better way as we start the march over towards the Snowball Derby. The countdown is coming up. All of that is happening. And that is this weekend as we draw to the end of Dirty Air. I'll talk a little more about some of those huge events that are going to be coming up this weekend and kind of give you some details on what all we're going to be looking at. But I'll tell you one event that I'm super excited, looking forward to, man. I love the Outlaws. You guys know my fascination with those outlaw late models, or outlaws. We'll just call them outlaws. And man, we got a big one coming up. Crisp Motorsports Park in Cordele, $5,054 on the line, and they are loaded up and coming from all around the country. Let's get a preview of it as we head to the hotline for the final time tonight. Our man, Ben Sumner. Ben, how we doing, man? You guys ready to rock and roll out there, my man?
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you having us on the show for this one.
Dude, absolutely. The pleasure all mine, dude. So kind of let's talk about the Ray Engel 54. I mean, we can get into the details of it. Just kind of talk about how the origin of the event, how this all came about to be the Ray Engel Memorial.
Well, Ray was a very, very good friend of mine, and he was passionate about racing. He was a race car owner, and just a little bit of background about him. Ray had moved here from North Carolina several years ago, and he went to work for the Georgia State Patrol as a radio operator. And he was from Asheville, North Carolina. He had cars up there. Robert Presley, his dad, Bob Presley drove for him. Mike Presley drove for him. And just, he raced up there in Asheville at a place they called the River.
Yeah.
And but just a lot of ties to racing, co-owner of Stuart Dutton's race team, and just so passionate about the sport and what he did, and he just loved it so much. And he passed away last year, and John Engel and the family contacted us through Stuart, and we just put it together last year. We had a great show last year, and we had some sponsors come on board, and Ray's number was 54. So that's, of course, what, the 54 to win, and the bonus monies and all that with that. And of course the 54 laps, in his memory. So we've got 28 teams pre-registered from 7 states. And I mean, it's just going to be a heck of a show.
Man, isn't that the cool thing? I love that, a lot of times, I mean, just with asphalt short track racing, we talk about super late models, pro late models, all that stuff. I mean, sometimes the outlaws and the trucks are the ones that seem to get left out. But when you have something like this, where you've got a huge outlaw race like this, man, it really lets these teams, like you talk about right there, from different states, it gives them a place to really showcase how great this series and this class, how great it really is.
It is, and I mean, it's there's some things that's a little more economical than the super and pro stuff, of course, but really fast cars, good looking pieces, and we've got 4 teams coming from out y'all's way. We've got Mike Polero, Randy Baker, and the Sotex. Hope I'm saying that right. Racing team, two drivers from there. I think Brandon Muller and Alex spoke to them earlier today. So they're coming from Texas, and it's a great show. We try to do 2 a year, with the outlaw deal, and but this by far is the crown jewel for them, for us over here.
Yeah, it really gives them kind of puts them in the spotlight, in my opinion, which I firmly believe that this class deserves that. So we can kind of go back to that. Talk about the year for you guys there at Cordele. Always tough when with economies and so forth. Kind of talk about how's the year been for you guys out there at Crisp?
It's been pretty good. I mean, we've we've got a little, our deal's kind of set up, and for what we're doing and our area that we're in, it just kind of works. I mean, we generally have 6-7 classes running, but we're very fortunate to have good support, and usually a 85 to 95 car count, on a regular show, and then special events we see up to 125, 130, and just fortunate to have the support that we do, and we've had a pretty good year.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome, and that's good to hear. I mean, that's anytime that a track is doing good, that's certainly a good thing at this point. So back to this one, to the 54, kind of a rundown of how everything's going to work when you have that amount of cars. There's a lot of logistics and things that come into play, and you're probably going to end up with over 30. The way this thing works out. How's the schedule play out for the Ray Engel Memorial 54 for you guys?
Well, we'll have open practice tomorrow. That's open to any of the teams, but primarily the Outlaws will be there. And we've got a Georgia-Florida challenge for the mini stock cars as well, paying $1,000 to win. So we'll have several of them. Those will probably be the two main classes that will take the opportunity for practice tomorrow. And we'll do some rig parking and things like that, and then we'll move into Saturday. And we'll open up the pit gate at 11:30, and then we'll just kind of throughout the day we'll go into, of course, the stuff, registration and things, and we'll have an hour and 10-minute test session for the Outlaws early in the afternoon, and then just kind of go into the program, and we'll kick off with our qualifying at 6 and go from there.
Yep. The great thing is, I think, Ben, every time you have a big event, I mean, they're always great. They're always a lot of work. But when you have something like this, these are special, especially when it's in your heart, and these mean a little bit more, don't they? When you have one of these, I mean, this is something that's really, it's more than just a race event.
It is. I mean, like I say, we were good friends and just humbled that, the family gave us the opportunity to do this and to come on board like they have with what they're doing and their contributions, and then just the support everybody's given for it. But for me personally, it's like I say, very humbling, and just so glad to be able to, have a part of it and be able to host the event there. And Ray was there every Saturday night for years and years in Cordele, and we just, like I say, just been knowing him a long time, worked with him a long time, just good folks,
Yep. So. Yep. That's what it's all about. Very excited for you guys, my friend. Good luck this weekend. I know it's going to be a great show. I'll check in with you guys and get results. And man, keep doing it, dude. You're doing a hell of a job over there, man. Glad things are doing well for you guys in Cordele.
Yeah, we're hanging in there, and always could get a little bit more, but we're keeping our head above water and keep plugging along, and just glad that again we have the support, and the Lyle family has been just so supportive, of the Speedway, and giving the racers a place to go and race, and just appreciate all they do too.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, lastly, additional information if folks are looking, where can folks get additional information, not only about the memorial, but just with everything happening at Crisp?
We every day are updating our Facebook page. That'd be the best page to go to, which is Crisp Motorsports Park on Facebook again. And then we also crispmotorsportspark.com is our website, phone numbers, all that stuff. You can reach me anytime at the track number. It rolls over to the cell phone, and we just want everybody to come, have a good time. We like to be laid back as we can, and just everybody race, have fun, and just want everybody to have a safe trip over here, and let's have a good show.
That's what it's all about, my friend. That is what it's all about. Have a great weekend, my man.
Right.
Look forward to it, and we'll talk to you soon, my brother. You bet.
All right. Thanks again for having us on.
You got it, buddy. Take care. You bet. There he goes, Ben Sumner. And that's a huge one coming up. Again, there is your information. We'll pull it up one more time. The Ray Engel Memorial 54. Like he talked about, you've got cars from 7 different states that are making their way out. This is really a great opportunity for the Outlaws to kind of showcase what they do, and if you haven't, and there's a lot of different variations of the Outlaws, and I've seen posts and so forth where that's one of those classes to where a lot of times as the Outlaws have evolved and developed to where maybe there's a little bit of question on that, maybe we need to dive in a little bit more on the rule book and so forth. And that's going to be that's going to be something that happens in any class. I mean, just as a class gains momentum, as a class gets bigger, you're going to have that problem. And I've always said, I mean, that's irritating to me as a longtime racing person, as a person that raced in a street stock class that blew itself out of proportion in Texas and became something that it was never intended to be. The other side of that, where I go and look at that, is when you have that happening, kind of on the other side of that token is that class has blown itself up and it has that much involvement to where it's gotten to that point. And people are thinking, okay, we need to get in and we need to police it a little bit better, or however you may want to think about that. But regardless of any of that, you've got a big one coming up at Cordele coming up this weekend. Man, that's going to be cool. That is going to be so cool to see those outlaws out on the racetrack as they race in the Memorial in the 54, and it's $5,054 to the winner. One of the hugest outlaw races, if not the biggest, that you're going to find in the country in short track racing for the Outlaws. You guys hang out. I'm going to put this one in the can. When I come back, talk a little bit about some of the big races coming up this weekend, talk about some of the different places that you can catch some cool short track racing, and get you ready for that race weekend. Clean air is good times like this, Thursdays. Dirty air just a tad bit better. Hang out, friends.
If sending your firstborn off to college brings a tear to your eye, but only because she's taking the convertible with her, then CarQuest Auto Parts is for you. If you've ever heard last call at an auto parts store, then CarQuest is for you. That's because CarQuest Auto Parts is for those who really know and care about their car. For all your steering and suspension needs, install Moog Parts, the choice of professional technicians. CarQuest is serious auto parts. Visit CarQuest.com.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Woo! Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advance Auto Parts. Learn more at advanceautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, it's my turn.
Yep, you can save at the pump. Advance Auto Parts. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's hard to not find an Advance Auto Parts location, friends. They are everywhere. No matter where you look, every corner, Advance Auto Parts are going to take care of you. And, of course, they've been with me from the get-go. I mean, from the Gulf Coast Racing Series days, back when, wearing this shirt. I mean, this is an old Texas Short Track Racing Series T-shirt that I'm wearing here tonight. On Dirty Air. So yeah, Advanced Auto Parts, man, they will take care of you, and just super good people. And a big thanks to our man Mike Cooper, who has been with us from the get-go. Again, a huge thanks to GM Performance, Rogers Dab Chevrolet. If you're looking for those engines and GM parts, actually, you guys can message me. And I will get you on the hookup right there. Great conversation that we had right there with Ben Sumner as they get set for the just huge Ray Engel Memorial Race for the Outlaws there on the half mile at Cordele. $5,054 on the line as they get set to dive in and have one of the biggest races, if not, like I said, if not the biggest for the Outlaws coming up this weekend. Let's take a look at what we have coming up, races, my little trophy dash that I like to call it, the races I'm looking forward to this weekend. I've talked about it a couple of different times. It's night number 2, Night of Champions, the doubleheader happening right there at Five Flag Speedway as the march towards the Snowball Derby continues. You've got the Blizzard Series and the Allen Turner Pro Late Models. All of that gets settled when it comes to championships and so forth. That's going to be happening this weekend. Of course, you can catch that right here on Racing America. If you can't get to Pensacola, that will be just great racing action right there. Lots of pros, lots of blizzards. I think that's going to be something really cool on a loaded weekend, and this really is a loaded weekend of racing. I mean, when you look at this, as you get here towards, we're towards the end of the month, and a lot of the regular season stuff is starting to wind itself down, but when you look at this, I mean, it's a loaded weekend. I mean, it's a loaded weekend in college football, and it's a loaded weekend when it comes to short track racing. The CRAs, you got the Madison County 200, the late model sportsman. That's coming up on September 30th. That's something to look forward to down the road. You've got the 6th annual Full Throttle 125. 8 divisions happening over at Citrus County. That's going to be happening here in Texas. You've got the H-Town Showdown. That's the second to the last race happening at Houston Motorsports Park with a loaded card right there. You'll have the trucks, the Outlaws are off. That's actually something how I knew was kind of honed into a little bit right there of what was going to be going on at Cordele, because I had talked to Ben and some of the folks, and we gave the Outlaws this weekend off so some of those teams could go ahead and make the trip, and thankfully a lot of those guys are doing it, and good luck to everybody that's making their way down. And of course, the focus here when it comes to the national stuff, the NASCAR playoffs are rolling and all of that. It's heading to Texas Motor Speedway. You've got the Xfinity Series, which, by the way, in my opinion, when it comes to NASCAR racing, the Xfinity Series, that's the best thing going right now. No offense to Cup, no offense to Truck, but the Xfinity race on Saturday right there, I think it's probably the Andes Frozen Custard 300, I think is what it's called. That's probably going to be the race of the weekend because the Xfinity Series is the one that's it's the better driving race car. It's the better competitive series. But I'm sure that the 400-mile Cup race on Sunday is going to be good as well. So that's coming up. And then just some events that I'm looking forward to earlier. I talked to you guys about the Lone Star 600, which is also something that I'm going to be heading out to. I'm going to be doing some race announcing there and also some work there for GM Performance and Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet. I'll dig into it further probably next week. I'll probably try to get somebody on so I can talk about the Lone Star 600. If you're not familiar with that, it really is the coolest race that you're going to find in the country. It is the coolest short track race in the country. It happens in Mesquite, Texas at Devil's Bowl Speedway right here in Texas. 2 300-lap races. That is the 600. $25,000 on the line, guys. And let me tell you something. You've got enduro races, but then you have the Lone Star 600. It's one page. It's one page of rules, and just about any damn, I would say car, but just about any damn vehicle that you can imagine can run this race. And all you got to do is finish. All you got to do is finish. I'm going to roll video for this next week. Tune in next week here on Dirty Air, and I'm going to explain to you in detail what the Lone Star 600 is. And I'm going to just tell you, it's the coolest race in the country. There's no other race like the Lone Star 600. It's coming up in October. Of course, the ASA National Series, man, October 13th through the 15th. Here we go. It's one of the crown jewels when it comes to super late model and short track racing. You've got the Winchester 400. It's right around the horizon as well. And then as well, coming up right before that, also not in Texas so much, but right there along that border, you've got the Doug Ingles Classic at Arklatex Speedway. I'll get you details on that next week as well, as you've got a lot of events that are just piling in right here as we start heading towards the end of the season. And big race season. Big race season is what this is, and I will have you covered wall to wall right here on Dirty Air each and every Thursday. And again, no matter how you're checking in, you can always go back and catch it, catch a replay or whatever of the program, even if it's just on the audio side. Great conversations here this evening. Hey, man, American Big Rig Racing Series. That Man, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Scott Lightning Treadway. If you got one of those CBs, if you got a CB and you're out on the road, Breaker 19, let me get that lightning. Let me get that lightning. And you never know when Lightning Treadway may say, go ahead. Pretty cool. Ben Sumner, Chris Motorsports Park, Ray Engel Memorial Race, $5,054 for the Outlaws. Go get them, Outlaws, man. This is your weekend to shine. Put yourself on that national spotlight. Go out there and show everybody who doesn't know how badass the Outlaws are. Race weekend, guys. Go find a local short track. And if you can't find a local short track, find a streaming provider. Racing America. Right at the top of the heap. So many different other places where you can consume this great stuff. Guys, thank you for being a part of Thirsty Thursday with me. My name is Rodney Rodriguez. Clean air is good. Times like this, Thursdays, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, dirty air, just a little bit better. Can't wait to see you guys at a short track. You can message me anytime. I'm on Twitter, @TheRodneyR. Stock racing, guys, that's what it's all about. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again next week. Be well, friends.